The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
All right, everyone. We'll wait for another 2 minutes for everybody to join. All right. We're conscious of your time as well, so I think it's time to get started. So welcome everyone to today's webinar, hosted by Bronto and Nosto. It's going to be around the topic of building blocks of customer engagement. It's my pleasure to also introduce to you Greg Portnoy, who heads up partnerships at Bronto, and my name is Jan Sorensen from Nosto. It's really great to see also some familiar names here in the attendee list. So welcome to you guys. So let's get started. So we have structured this as a two-part webinar. So the first part will be done by myself for the Nosto side, and the second part by Bronto. The way we see this webinar play out is a bit more of a pro seminar type of webinar, where we really want to deep dive into kind of one feature set each, and make sure that we kind of deep dive into one topic, as both of our solutions have become quite far-reaching and have lots of features. So I'll be focusing on homepage recommendations, going into quite a bit of depth here, and then we have the welcome series email as well from Bronto. And again, how this ties together on both accounts, both the homepage recs as well as the welcome series. That's in most instances the first touch points the end user will have with each solution, so to speak. So let's get started right away. I'll start with the on-site recommendations, give you guys a little kind of pro introduction to what most of our kind of big enterprise clients are doing, how they're taking that to the next level. And I think you all know that customers nowadays are expecting a personalized merchandising experience. From our perspective, we know from Nosto clients, it can roughly improve your, I would say, revenue by 15% if you have a good personalization solution. And according to eMarketer, you can get AOV increase has been confirmed by roughly 50% of merchants as well. Perfect. So I think that the solution and what we've seen now with many of our clients who've already done personalization on the product page, have done personalization across many different touch points, but the homepage has been a little bit of kind of the holy cow, and it was always used more for branding purposes. But what we're now seeing is with our clients is that they're really starting to monetize the homepage and really make it all about connecting customers to products. So that's what we're seeing now with our clients, and I want to give you right away a couple of, I think, relevant examples. Start with one of my favorite accounts, Pura Vida Bracelets. It's running on Shopify Plus. You might know the owner. His name is Griffin Thal. He's been named Forbes 30 under 30, so kind of a famous guy in kind of the young e-commerce scene. And I think this is a fairly interesting approach. So I think a couple points to highlight. The first one is that you see that the hero teaser on the top has been kind of narrowed up. So I think it's only like 200-300 pixels in height. So the products are really becoming way more important as opposed to kind of the branding, which we see people doing offsite, and whether it's on Instagram or kind of on other channels. He's really built his website and Shopify Plus site around conversions, which also means that products are taking center stage. I think that's the first innovation here. Does require, I would say, guts to do so. The same goes for the new approach in terms of recommendations, and that's moving away a little bit from that Amazon style one row approach. So I think we've all kind of followed the lead of Amazon, just making sure that we are personalizing it. But now I think different merchants are experimenting with different formats, and what we see across our merchant base is an expansion of the amount of products that you show, and obviously also seeing the bottom line impact of that. Then two points that we always like to highlight, because there's a bunch of stuff going on in the background on improving the relevancy of the recommendations. And what Pura Vida Braces has chosen here in the two cases is, one, to index also product reviews and the product review count, which does make the recommendation itself more valid. So you can kind of set up to only highlight products that have a certain rating, let's say at least 4 stars or 5 stars, or the other way around. You want to show potentially only products who have no reviews yet, just to kind of get that review process going. So we see both in use with our clients. So interesting approaches here. And finally, I think pretty cool, and does require that you have enough traffic. It's kind of this geo-targeted recommendation. And the way it's structured is, if we have enough conversions and enough views from your city, then we'll obviously show kind of bestsellers of the city. And if it's not enough data, then we'll just go up the aggregation level, up to state level and then country level. So I think pretty cool example here. Perfect. Another example here, this is from Sweden, and some of you guys might know this because I'm also using that in some of our product demos. Site is called Naked. It's running Magento. They're roughly 400K in traffic. We like this approach again because these guys know obviously fashion. They're kind of the experts in fast fashion, and they've kind of split the website and the homepage into two parts. Left-hand side is kind of a manual merchandising stream, so they have a very strong fashionista kind of team picking the coolest products. And then the right-hand side, like the side blade, is dedicated to personalization, which is I think pretty cool. Perfect. Good. And I think again the cool thing here, it's all about kind of not following that Amazon approach. It's really building your own approach to personalization. This is what they've done as well here on the website. Finally, one point again, because again, recommendations have lots of stuff going on in the background. These guys have chosen to apply what's called an individualized newness filter here on their bestsellers. What that does is analyze when you've been to the website the last time, so your individual last timestamp, so to speak, and if that's been 30 days ago, then we'll only show inventory that's been added in that 30 days. So this way we can guarantee that any customer who was a kind of a returning customer will get brand new content and really good and strong content. Perfect. And finally, I also wanted to highlight here, it's a bit kind of off the norm. It's a client of ours called Unif. I think it's also running Shopify Plus. Again, you can see this kind of non-geometrical grid here, which is actually a recommendation. So it's a browsing history related recommendation. Again, goes to show that you can really take this into any context. If you're fashion forward, you can still deploy kind of relevant recommendations while still making it kind of avant-garde design. So pretty cool stuff. So lots of flexibility. There's a bunch of other trends also happening around recommendations, and what we see is more or less user experience features from non-e-commerce related contexts are being carried over to e-commerce. I think you're all familiar with the continue watching feature on Netflix. If you're binge watching, I'm sure you've used that feature many times. It's very useful. And the same can actually be done more or less on the e-commerce side. So what we do with some of our bigger clients as well is kind of this continuous shopping recommendation. So we know that many purchases do require multiple sessions. You can more or less also do that with a browsing history, but in this case, it is a weighted algorithm. So we'll show recommendations based on how many times you've engaged with a product. If you've added it to the cart even, then it will be shown obviously in the first position and so on. So simple algorithm, but yeah, I mean, amazing performance. So yeah, definitely something to consider, and you can even hack this with a browsing history. So don't even need to use Nosto, but don't tell my boss I said this. So let's continue. Discover Weekly, I think another cool feature that I use and lots of my peers use. So that's a feature of Spotify that allows you to get 30 personalized tracks every week, highly personalized, and they're released once a week. So it becomes kind of a celebratory thing. And again, something we can easily transport into kind of the recommendation setup. So some of our clients have started doing this weekly personalized pick as well, simply making sure that you're using those user experience tools that people know from outside of e-commerce. Perfect. So lots of stuff going on in the background. So I think overall it's just becoming more complex on the algorithm side. So lots of automation happening around margin and inventory depth improvements. So this is a way to kind of make sure that you're always balancing the goals. So not just optimizing for conversion rates, but then also optimizing for sell-through rates, and not just the top line, but then also the bottom line. So that's becoming way more complex as we go forward. So yeah, looking forward to seeing you guys try out some of those features as well. Perfect. Step 2 is looking a little bit into the future. I think we also want to highlight what's coming next, and I think one of the big topics is interaction. So letting customers give you their feedback, allowing them to self-segment, indicating brand preferences. So not just moving in terms of implicit signals, but then also letting customers give explicit signals, which I think is pretty cool. It allows you to get that customer buy-in, to personalize it, and yeah, just make it more enjoyable. And there's multiple ways you can do this, multiple features and tools out there. Many of them are usually deployed on the homepage. I think you've seen style selector tools many times. It's also been called out by Shopify Plus. It's kind of the one big trend. The cool thing nowadays is that it can be automated, so you don't need to pick those different styles yourself. So there's software that will simply analyze your product's database and will kind of find these product clusters and then kind of build that for you automatically, so it doesn't become kind of this manual merchandising process. Many of our customers have also started using, and sorry for the bad resolution screenshots, started using surveys. Again, that's a fairly old school way, but does allow you to get fairly granular in terms of the personalization. And again, something we see playing out oftentimes in cosmetics as an example. And again, something to engage the customer with. Something that we're also going to release very shortly is kind of that desktop version of a Tinder experience. So liking brands, disliking brands, liking styles, and building kind of this personalized product grid. I think it makes total sense. And the cool thing is that you can also pull in different content, whether it's UGC to kind of create this collage effect and Pinterest effect. But yeah, it's not really only about liking a brand or a product. It's then really also understanding what that signal means and then rebuilding that grid for you specifically. And I think that's a great way to circumvent navigation through the navigation bar or through search or through the catalog. Makes it really playful and really, really cool, I think, experience. Finally, a Tinder experience, promise is going to be desktop, but still going to mention it again, something that we see playing out as well to kind of personalize more or less the desktop, the mobile experience. Perfect. Good. One pro user tip still, so this is more or less carrying over the on-site and desktop experience to email. That's already the transition to Greg and Bronto's part, is that you can take those personalized recommendations that you're playing out on the homepage, and you can place them into any context, whether it's transaction emails, whether it's, as we see a little bit later, the welcome series. You can kind of supercharge what you're doing and tying into multiple tools together, which I see as the future. It's kind of a best of breed approach. You might use Nosto for personalization, but then of course you want a super powerful email solution. And we're seeing more or less different trends in the market, but I think best of breed using a kind of fairly wider tech stack I think that's becoming the norm, because our tools are becoming so specialized going forward. And again, multiple ways to do this. So let me just. Otherwise, Greg, if you want to take start with your second part here as well. So happy to kind of make sure we show the right slides here.
Yeah, sure. I can. Thanks, Jan. I can definitely jump in and introduce Bronto real quick while we're getting the slides back up. But thanks everyone for joining us today, and thanks Nosto for having myself and Bronto here. We're very excited to tell you all a little bit more about Welcome Series. And as Jan mentioned, this is everything Jan's been showing you is on-site. Great ways to engage your customers on-site and personalize to them and make sure that they're getting, the right experience and the right kind of view of your brand when they're on the site. But then once they've left your site, what's the best way to engage them? As most of us know, that's email. And when it comes to email, the Welcome Series is really the foundation and the beginning where you kind of set the tone for your entire kind of email marketing experiences with your customers. So just to let you know a little bit more about Bronto and kind of what we do. Bronto is a cloud-based marketing automation platform to mid-market enterprise retailers. We're actually the #1 email marketing provider to the Internet Retailer 1000 for 3 years running. Founded in 2002, and we're now serving over 1,400 brands worldwide and sending significantly more than 20 billion emails per year. Our headquarters is in Durham, North Carolina, and we have satellite offices in London, Sydney, New York, and Los Angeles. First, I'm going to tell you guys why a Welcome Series is important. I already started that a little bit. Then we're going to give you kind of an easy 4-step process to approach it, along with a suggested cadence and a sample 4-part series from one of our customers. And then we're going to give you just the kind of the results, a little bit of a customer success story. So let's start with why a Welcome Series. So I mentioned some of the points already, but really what it comes down to is, you've spent so much time and money most likely acquiring new subscribers to your marketing list. So then not engaging them with a Welcome Series after that is just silly. It's running a marathon and walking the last mile, or maybe not even finishing the last mile at all. This is really where you want to put the pedal to the metal and actually get the most out of the money and time that you spent to acquire these subscribers. So one of the key points here is that you don't just want to have a welcome email. You need to at least have one, but we really recommend having a multi-part welcome series. Industry best practice is to send a series of 2 to 3 triggered messages for a positive initial experience. And so the focus of this series is to introduce your brand and educate new subscribers. So that's kind of like how-tos. Perhaps it's how to choose the right shoe, or how to put this outfit together, or whatever it is based on what you're selling. Maybe you're also introducing them to your loyalty program. And again, you want to set expectations for how often they'll be getting mailed so that they can reduce list dropout as well. You also want to incentivize and inspire them. to convert and shop with you. So you might want to welcome them with an incentive if that works for your brand, perhaps why they should be shopping with you, and what makes your brand unique. And then you also want to reinforce your brand's value and kind of build consumer confidence. So you can use it to show yourself as the expert in your particular category or product area. And so some kind of intrinsic values of a welcome series is it checks the validity of the email address you've gotten. So if that first email bounces, you can immediately take them off your list and you protect your deliverability reputation. It also confirms the opt-in request for your subscribers. You know, you don't want to get them to sign up and forget that they signed up when you email them a month later and they just unsubscribe or they mark you as junk, and that again hurts your deliverability. It also engages them at the exact moment they're interested. If they give you their email address, they're excited about your brand. They want to know what you've got to offer. So it's the best time to engage them. And welcome series are actually proven to drive higher engagement metrics, prolong a subscriber's life cycle, and decrease attrition and complaints. They also drive better ROI for your overall email program, likely because you're setting the expectations. And then the one that we have on the screen, actually, Jan, if you could back up one slide.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's quite all right. That the Silver Jeans is a client of Bronto's that actually drives 22% of their annual email revenue just from their welcome series, just from an automated campaign that shoots off immediately when someone signs up, and it drives 1/5 of their revenue. So you can see that it's very powerful. Moving on to the next slide, the next question is, where do you begin? So you want to identify the action that you want the subscriber to take and the key information you need to convey to drive that action. It's also important to focus on the benefits, kind of what's in it for the subscriber and the customer. Next, you want to identify the obstacles to the action that you want them to take and include ways to overcome them. For example, put yourself in the shoes of the new subscriber or customer and do things like describe the ease of choosing a product, perhaps setting up their profile on your site, and let them know what the value of that will be to them. And then lastly, you need to create a low-key, polite, and friendly copy in the welcome messages. You want to focus on being, again, genuinely helpful and kind of create a sense of community if you can. Moving on to step one in our process is collect the data. I'm personally kind of a data nerd, and I'm of the opinion that the more data you collect, the more ways that you can actually use that data and personalize to your clients, and I know Nosto's a big fan of that too. So a successful welcome series requires reliable data. So you need to think about how you can optimize your acquisition points and collect more relevant information. There are 4 primary places where you can collect new subscriber data. One is that you can ask for it during sign-up. You know, you need to know if you're asking for preference data that you can segment upon. Your subscribers are more likely to provide you with this information during those initial interactions, again, when they're most engaged. And if your sign-up process allows it, you should attempt to collect as much information as possible, for example, gender, perhaps category of interest, or any other kind of targeted information that pertains to your products. You need to identify the sign-up location. Some of Bronto's customers add a hidden field or list assignment based on the page that the user was viewing when they chose to sign up. For example, if you're a shoe retailer, your hidden field could capture whether they're on a men's page or a woman's page. If you want to take it a step further, you could capture whether they're on an athletic shoe page or a casual shoe page. And then you want to capture click activity. The welcome message should be the most read message in your email program. And you can use a contact's click behavior in that message to actually determine what messages they're going to receive next. So we'll show you an example of what that might look like later on. And again, not only are they interested in your products because they just signed up, but their actions and what they're clicking in the series is actually going to tell you what products they're focused on. So for example, you know, a navigation bar at the top is kind of the obvious choice. You can use it to mirror the navigation bar on your website and allow them to quickly get to particular parts of your site. You can also, lastly, request additional preference information via a dedicated message. So a managed preference message that could take them to the account area of your website, and you can send it early in the series where they can actually tell you what kind of products they're interested in, what kind of cadence of messaging they'd like, things like that, that will, 1, make them feel more listened to, and 2, can help you segment and personalize better. So moving on to step 2, Once you have that data, you want to create your segments. You need to decide what information you need, again, to create those segments, and you need to ask for that information from your customers. Your criteria should definitely be based on how you've been collecting the data. And a tip here is that if you're only collecting emails, maybe identify who has clicked on what links, identify who clicked on whatever links in the welcome message, and use that, again, to build additional segments. Even if you're not doing a managed preferences form, there are little ways where you can get data and still personalize somewhat. And then another tip here is that you need to be mindful that a person might enter multiple segments. And you should probably create a priority list that will be important to your customers. For example, if someone clicks on both the women's and maternity links in your welcome message, you need to determine which of these two segments takes precedence over the other. You might decide that maternity has more of an immediate need, and so you send the maternity-focused series to this contact instead of just the general women's one. So moving on to step 3, you want to create, again, a stream of messages. We're going to go through a sample 4-part series in a few moments, but I wanted to start by showing you a great initial welcome series by one of our clients, Everlast. So the company is well known for boxing and martial arts products. They created one simple welcome series that accounts for only 2.3% of their email sends, but is actually responsible for 38% of their total email revenue. And they're doing a lot of things right when it comes to email marketing. Not only are they sending the multi-message welcome series, but they're actually treating people who join their database after engaging with the boxing part of their website completely differently than the ones who are engaging from the MMA section of their website. So moving on to step 4, this is actually, the other favorite part of mine, which is analyzing and adapting. A welcome series should not be a set it and forget it kind of thing. You want to constantly be tweaking it, updating it, looking at the results of what you've been sending and trying new things and testing. You definitely need to analyze performance of the welcome messages and determine if they convert better in general or maybe in particular segments. And then you can use this intelligence again to create new improved segmentation strategies, or take that data to begin a post-purchase or lapse purchase series with this new data. So now I want to go on to suggested timing and content of this series. So message 1 should be fired immediately upon signing up. Maybe not that very second, but I think people are actually even getting more used to that these days. So it should come in pretty immediately once someone signs up. And generally, that message should thank the subscriber for signing up, maybe provide an introductory offer, and again, highlight the benefits of the email program and what the subscriber is going to get now that they've joined your marketing list. Message 2, you can send around day 4, and this one can be used to say, tell us more about you. Perhaps there's a call to action for the subscriber to update their preferences here. Perhaps you're getting their birth date information and offering them a special gift. Message 3 can be sent around day 7, and this can be kind of like a connect with us that is focusing on your social media presence if that's something that your brand is doing strongly. Promote your social presence and highlight the benefits of being a part of the social space in addition to just the email list. And then message 4 could probably be sent around day 10. And here you want to maybe mention your best sellers, highlight the most popular brands or categories on your site. And this, again, might be a message that you need to tweak seasonally. So really what I want to kind of highlight in this overall is that if you're setting expectations at the time of sign up around cadence, you're going to want to make sure that your welcome series and further messages kind of stay within that cadence. If your regular messages outside of your welcome series are on a slightly longer cadence based on your products, then you might want to let them know that your welcome series is going to have a slightly shorter cadence, and then it's going to go back to that longer cadence as well. So moving on to the sample series from our customer Clark's, the welcome message 1, like I said, you want to introduce. Here they're saying thank you, and then welcoming them to the email program. You want to set expectations of the kind of messages they're going to be getting, promotions, new store openings, and so forth. Whitelisting, you want them to make sure that they add your email address to their address book so that your messages won't be going to their spam folder or getting caught in their junk folder or something like that. As you can see here, they also snuck in the first message the manage preferences form and told folks to update their email preferences. And then they are offering incentives at the bottom, free shipping and free returns every day. Again, taking out those barriers to shopping with them. And then there's a call to action, start shopping, come on and do it now. And there's that navigation bar at the top that I was mentioning before where you can capture click behavior. So moving on to message 2, this is the get to know message. They're saying it's all about you. And here they're using a help us serve you better approach. Again, offering the option to update their preferences. That's the main call to action here. And emphasizing to add their birthday so that the brand can send them a special gift. Most people love free things, especially on their birthday. And here you can also consider incentivizing with a contest or a coupon if that fits your brand. So moving on to message 3, this is where you want to encourage them to maybe check out your social. So explain the wins of joining each of the social media channels, newest collections, exclusive promotions. You're able to give the brand feedback. And then they have the 3 main recognized standard buttons. You can, again, consider incentivizing them here with a contest or coupon. And you can also send a dedicated message, actually, just introducing them to your blog. If your brand is actually have an active blog around your product categories, this is a great way to show them that you are the expert in your category. Moving on to message 4, this is where you want to inspire them to convert if they haven't already. You're going to highlight your most popular products or categories, highlight perhaps what others are buying. If you are using user-generated content on your site, you can add it in here. Folks love that. Remember to update this message seasonally if that applies to your brand. And then point out kind of what sets you apart from your competitors. Is it free shipping? Is it free returns? Is it a particular fit guide? And again, maybe it's a link to your blog again where you show your category and product expertise. So finally, I want to highlight a success story of one of Bronto's favorite clients, Welcome Series. So this is Not on the High Street. And Not on the High Street actually created a very unique Welcome Series that they kind of called a unique journey. What they would do is the first 3 messages were all about the Not on the High Street brand. They would go to every customer. The later messages that were actually triggered by the customer's behavior around the first 3 messages. So for example, if a customer made a purchase as a result of one of those first 3 brand-centric emails, then they would be sent a message detailing the various social media platforms that Not on the High Street uses. If the customer opened one of the messages and clicked on something but didn't make a purchase, then a message detailing the newest products on the site would be sent next. If a customer didn't open any of those first 3 brand-focused messages, then they would get a more offer-led message, perhaps with a discount, incentivizing folks to convert. And if those folks actually purchased a second time, then they would be removed from the list. But if they only purchased once and didn't purchase again, then they might get a message letting them know that if they made a second purchase, they'd be entered in a prize drawing. So I realize this is one of the more intricate and complex Welcome Series, but wanted to give you an example of how detailed and personalized you can go with this. And what did this result in? So the results for Not on the High Street were that average order values for the Welcome Series were 20% higher than Not on the High Street's other marketing messages produced. And overall, the unique journey strategy for their Welcome Series actually resulted in a 48% year-over-year increase in email revenue. So again, we cannot emphasize enough how valuable and important a Welcome Series is, not only to welcome your customers to your marketing, but also for your entire email marketing strategy. So that's it from me and Bronto.
Perfect. Yeah, I think Greg, awesome points on the Welcome Series, and yeah, we obviously look forward to your questions and comments. And in any case, you could reach out to both of us. We're always available, whether it's for the email side or for the personalization side. So we definitely look forward to hearing from you. Yeah, so we'll call it a day and make sure to dial into our next webinar. Take care and thank you very much.